You're like, evolution, what's that? People really believe in that? Like what?
You can even now.
Okay, we're on page 41. Let's begin. We're talking about the benefits of having bitachon, having trust in Hashem. Miut tsar nafsho b'mischaro b'mtisakev eslo pragmatia oim lo yochol likvos chovo oim yifke'eu choli begufo. A benefit of bitachon is that he's not going to have stress over his business. Let's say you could have a store and you don't sell all of your merchandise. That could be a very stressful situation. But if you have bitachon, you're not going to worry about it. You know, Hashem's in charge. Or if you're not able to collect money that people owe you, you're not going to be stressed out about it because you know Hashem's in charge. Or if you get sick, a person gets sick and he can't work. It'll be a very, very difficult situation. He can get a lot of anxiety. If you trust in Hashem, you don't have to worry about it. Because he knows. Hashem is trying to work things out for him more than he is. He's doing good for the person more than the person does for himself. Like it says, for Hashem alone I wait silently, because from him is my help. He's saying that a person wants his own good. Hashem wants your good more than you do. Right? As much as we want for ourselves that everything should work out, Hashem wants things to work out more than us. We finished last week. He mentioned here the Mizmor Chav Gimel, Tehillim 23, that we're all very familiar with. It says in there that Gam ki elich begetzal mavis lo iwara ki atayimadi shiftecho mishantecha heima inachamuni. Even when we're in the shadow of the valley of death, we don't fear anything because Hashem's with us. And it says then it says that your rod and your staff, they're placed before me, and your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So the Mefarshim say, what does it mean, your rod and your staff? Your rod and your staff means that Hashem, even when He punishes us, we're comforted. When bad things happen to us, we're comforted. Why? Because a father that cares about his child punishes him to make him improve or to help him. Right? A father doesn't punish his son for no reason, just out of spite, just out of anger. That's not the way the father does. A father punishes somebody, his son is not doing the right thing. The sheep is veering off the path, so the shepherd has to use his staff to bring the sheep back in the path. He doesn't want his sheep to go into the wrong direction. So the same thing, a father, the same thing Hashem. He makes things a little difficult for us sometimes to wake us up so that we go on the right path. If Hashem would totally give up on us, we would have no difficulties in life. He would just let us go. You're doing the wrong thing. Yeah, I'll let you go and do the wrong thing. I gave up on you. But anytime we experience difficulty, or it seems that something bad is happening, we shouldn't be afraid, because we know that Hashem is in charge, and Hashem, for whatever reason, needs us to suffer at that point. And there could be a million reasons why we suffer. It could be that we did an Aveira, and that we need to be cleaned up a little bit, and it's much better to get cleaned up in this world through a little bit of suffering in this world than the next world. It could be that we need to go through a difficult experience in this world so that we learn certain lessons, right? You could, as much as we can learn about bitachon, if a person goes through a difficult situation and is challenged, and he has bitachon in that difficult situation, he grows infinitely more than if we're sitting here learning about it. So it could be Hashem put him through that situation so that he would grow spiritually. And since the whole goal of life is to grow, is to serve Hashem, that's such an important thing, more important than anything else. It could be that he needs to go through a difficult time to serve as a lesson for others. It could be that he's going through a difficult time because he's a Gilgal. It could be he's going through a difficult time because he's saving his life in this world. There could be a million reasons why a person suffers or goes through difficult times, or is being punished, or whatever it is. But the point that he's saying here is that Hashem wants our good more than we want our own good. Famous Gemara that I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with, but I think it's very important, so let's learn it again. Every time we learn something, it goes a little deeper. A person should be, he should always say, Kol de Avid Rahmana L'tav Avid. Everything that Hashem does is for the good. He had Rabbi Kiva, like the story of Rabbi Kiva, the Havaka Azul Ba'orcha. He's traveling. Matla, he came to a certain city. He came to an inn, and they didn't have any room for him. Amar called everything that Hashem does is for the good. Azol ubas b'davra. He went and he slept in the outskirts of the town, in a field or something. And all he had was a chicken, a rooster to wake him up, and he had a donkey, and he had a little lamp, a little candle. A wind came and blew out the lamp. A cat came and ate the rooster. A lion came and ate the donkey. Amar, he said, Kol David Rahman al-Tav, everything that Hashem does is for the good. At night, an army came to the city. And it enslaved all the people that were in the city and took them away. Amar Lahu, he said, Lav Amar, didn't I tell you? Kol ma she'oseh HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'tova. Everything that Hashem does is for the good. So here, Rabbi Akiva was in a very, what we would assume is a bad situation. He had to sleep in a field. He lost his candle, lost his rooster, and lost his donkey. And it seems very difficult, but he was able to see quickly how it is all to the good. It was all for the good. So sometimes in life bad things happen, and we realize that it was all for the good. Other times we never realize it. Right? Sometimes we could realize it the day after, like Rabbi Akiva. Sometimes we could realize in 20 years why this seemingly terrible thing had to happen, and it really worked out for the good. And sometimes, again, we might never know. I'm in this book. I'm in the middle of the book now about Rabbi Rubashkin, and it's really unbelievable. You realize, you see what he went through. At the time, he was in Gehenna. He was denied bail because he was a Jew, because they were afraid he was going to go to Israel, which every Jew should be nervous about, that the United States could do that just if you're Jewish, you could be denied bail because you could flee to Israel. And, at least the way I was taught when I grew up, that there's something called freedom of religion in the United States. But every jail he went to, almost every jail, they shuffled him around a lot, they would say, okay, now you need to take off your clothes. So you take off his clothes and leave his yarmulke and tzitzis, and they say, now take off the rest of your clothes. He says, I'm not doing it, I'm Jewish, I'm not allowed to do that. He says, you mean you're refusing to comply with the order? And he would say, I would love to comply with the order, but I'm a Jewish person, and this is I'm constitutionally guaranteed that even in prison I could wear my yarmulke and tzitzis to observe my religion. So also they wouldn't give him kosher food, so he would not. I think there was one stretch he didn't eat for like 48 hours, something like that, maybe more. And so what they did is they forcibly took away his yarmulke and tzitzis, and since he was officially rebelling against the jail guards, they threw him in solitary confinement, which everyone says is like the worst Gehenna. So he's sitting there with the prison jumpsuit. He doesn't have a yarmulke and he doesn't have tzitzis. So he put a blanket over his head, and what was he able to do? He was able to daven Ma'ariv by heart, and he knew Chovos HaVavos, what we're learning now, he knew by heart. Right? And he writes that when eventually his lawyer was able to contact with the jailers, he finally put back, this I was really impressed by, he put back on his tzitzis, made a bracha, put his tzitzis on, he said he just kept feeling the tzitzis with his fingers. Because he appreciated, he didn't have the mitzvah of tzitzis, and now he could have the mitzvah of tzitzis, and he just kept feeling the tzitzis because he was so happy to have the mitzvah. I was just thinking how quickly every morning I put on the tzitzis, I don't even think about what I'm doing, and just how much this Jew wanted to fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzis and how precious it was to him. But my point in bringing this story is that he went through Gehenna, and at the time it seemed like all hope was lost. I think he writes there that when he finally had the best Habitachon and trust in Hashem, was when all the appeals were lost, and he just had to trust in Hashem, and that's eventually when Trump pardoned him. But when he had to put his total reliance on Hashem, that's when he had the most Habitachon. But the point is, at the time he was in Gehenna, and now let's look what happened. First of all, I'm sure the experience deepened his appreciation for mitzvahs, because he wasn't able. Don't you think every time now he puts on tefillin, right? Every time he wears tzitzis, he's so thankful. Every mitzvah that he does for the rest of his life, he's so much more thankful, appreciates it so much more because of what he went through. Not only that, right, if this thing hadn't happened, he would still be the head of Rubashkin's mead and Aaron's mead, and he'd be very chashuv balabas and a very nice working man. But now he became like the hero of the Jewish people in a certain sense. He united all of the Jewish people, trying to get him out when the people realized all the anti-Semitism that was happening and what he was suffering. You had Satmar working with Lubavitch, working with the Aguda, working with Young Israel, different groups of Jews that usually would have not much to do with each other, all worked together to support one Jew who was suffering. That's a huge Kiddush Hashem. Now also, he got out, and now he constantly gives lectures about Bitachon, about trusting in Hashem. You can go in right here in Jackson, 15, 20 minutes away. And he inspires thousands and thousands of Jews. You think about what he went through. He was in hell, but all of these good things came out of it. Now I'm sure no one wants to go through that, but we don't see the full picture. We never see the full picture. Rabbi Vishnevsky, his mushal, his parable that he used to always say, you look through a keyhole and you see someone slicing someone's head open, and you open the door and you say, "What are you doing? Why are you killing that guy?" And you realize it was a surgery. You didn't see the whole picture. It was trying to help the guy. Just look from your small vantage point. It looked like a horrible thing, but really, if you look at the entire picture, he was trying to help the person. So we don't always see the full picture, but the idea is that Hashem wants our benefit more than we do. Okay, let's continue. Page 41. Umehen. Simchaso b'chol inyan shiatek elav v'imya kenegativo. Person who has bitachon can be happy in every situation, even if he has to do something that's against his nature. Mifnei bitchono belokim shalayaselo ela hatov lo b'chol inyan. Could you trust in Hashem? Because like we said, Hashem wants your good in every aspect. Just like a mother, she cares for her child when she washes her child, when she swaddles him. Apparently they used to, when an infant was born, they would do like wrap him very tight to help the bones. And it wasn't a pleasurable experience for the infant. But the mother did it for his benefit. Swaddled him, they would tie things around the infant and then undo it. Al korcho, and obviously the kid, he wasn't very happy with it, but it was really for the kid's benefit, so that his bones would be strengthened. Kamosha Amar David HaMelech Alav Shalom, that King David said, Im lo shivisi v'daimamti nafshi k'gomol alai imo k'gomol alai nafshi. I swear that I stilled and quieted my soul like a nursing infant at his mother's side, like the nursing infant is my soul. They spring here on the bottom that the Vilna Gaon said this is the epitome of bitachon. Epitome of bitachon is that we trust in Hashem just like when we were little kids trusting in your mother. Think about back, if you can remember, when you were 5 years old and you're holding your mother's hand. Were you afraid of anything? No, your mother was taking care of you. You totally trusted your mother. Whatever she did, she's doing for your benefit. She protected you. What are you worried about? Your mom's there. You have nothing to worry about. Your mom, right? A 5-year-old kid with a mother not afraid. That's how we should feel. That should be our bitachon. That Hashem's holding our hand. There's nothing to worry about. What do we have to worry about? Hashem's taking care of us. He's holding our hand. The Vilna Gaon they bring here says that's the epitome of bitachon. Okay, let's just finish up the introduction. Believe it or not, I think we've learned 12 classes, and this is just the introduction. The Kevan Shibiarti Mitoy Elos Habitachon Belokim V'Hanosov B'Torah U'Ba'olam Mashin Izdaminli. He says, now since we explained the purpose of bitachon and how it benefits us for our Torah observance and in the world, all the reasons that I could think of. I now want to explain 7 aspects of bitachon. The first, Mahu Habitachon. We're going to explain the first chapter. What is bitachon? What is that? Vasheni, Vesibos Habitachon ala Bruyim. The criteria for placing trust in somebody. Vahashlishi, the third thing. Ve'er ha'akdamos asher ba'avuran yischayev habitachon ve'elokim v'chiv ha'esik v'sibos. The introductions that why one is required to put his trust in Hashem, why a person is required to have bitachon, and if so, if we have all this trust in Hashem, why don't we have to work for a living? Why don't we just sit on our lazy boy, watch football, and Hashem will provide for us? Why don't we do that? V'aravi, the fourth, v'veir hadvarim asher behem yeh habitachon v'chiv shivcho uvenuso behem. The areas where bitachon applies, and something about good bitachon and not good bitachon. Achamishi, the fifth thing, the difference between someone who engages in a livelihood with bitachon and someone who engages in a livelihood without bitachon. Shishi, the sixth thing, someone called the Balei Hamashkonos. These are people who say, yeah, I'm going to serve Hashem, but first I need to be financially secure. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I have enough money for my entire life, and then I'll serve Hashem. Why those people are incorrect. My father has a coworker that it's so sad. They work for retired at 65 or whatever it is, and then they're ready to enjoy their life, go on cruises and vacations, and then they're working their whole life for that, and all of a sudden this lady got cancer. So unfortunately, you never know what can happen. So it's not good to wait to the end of a person's life to start serving Hashem. Vashvi, the seventh thing. V'mafsidei habitachon be'elokim, things that detract from bitachon. V'chol ma shetzarich l'daber be'inyan habitachon v'lekatzer b'cholakov. We are going to discuss things that detract from bitachon and everything that we need to speak about bitachon, and he's going to summarize at the end all these things that we discussed. And with that, we finish the introduction to the gates of trust.